Welcome to the very first video in a brand new series, Creating Realistic MIDI Performances, a free class dedicated to helping you make the most out of your sound libraries. So recently I completed a new symphonic arrangement of a theme I composed for a dance troupe a couple years ago, and now I need to create a realistic MIDI mockup of the arrangement so that I can have it as a reference. In this series, I'm going to take you along with me and teach you all of the tips and tricks needed to help it go from sounding like this to this. Together, we're going to learn what makes a MIDI performance sound realistic, expressive, and human. Every video in the series will provide simple, straightforward steps and tasks that you can follow and transform into a workflow that you can use in all of your future projects. These lessons are going to be split across two main modules. Today kickstarts Module 1, where we will learn the secrets behind creating a realistic sound in your DAW. Because creating a realistic sound is about more than just loading your favorite sound libraries into your project and then shaping things like velocity and expression. To create a professional level sound, you will need to learn how to pay attention to things like routing, reverb, panning, and tonal blending between the unique characteristics of individual sound libraries, all of which play vital roles in making your MIDI instruments sound like a real orchestra that was recorded in the same space at the same time. Today, our goal is to learn more about setting up the tracks you need for a new project. This is unfortunately a little more complicated than just simply loading a track for each instrument in your arrangement. You see, for orchestration, all you need to do is to consider which instruments you have available and when or how you want to use them in your music. For example, the string section in this orchestra is pretty standard. You have violin 1, violin 2, violas, celli, and basses. And as an orchestrator, this is all I need, a list of the instruments I have available. However, if I want to bring my arrangement to life using sound libraries, for any reason, there are several additional considerations I need to make if my goal is to imitate a real orchestra. First and foremost is deciding how many different tracks I need. For something like the string section, it can be super tempting to just see a patch named strings, load it up, and then write all of my different string parts in there. However, this is going to cause all sorts of problems down the line, because it eliminates the option to customize the performances of individual instruments. For example, what if I want my first violin to be a little bit louder than my violas? What if the phrasing on my melody is different from the counter melody? What if I want my strings to play melody, counter melody, and bass line, and each one has slightly different phrasing? Or what if I just want to use different techniques, like pizzicato in my bass and legato in my violins? So right off the bat, we want to make sure we have at least one track for every single instrumental section. That means starting out with a track for first violins, second violins, violas, celli, and basses. And as a really quick note, obviously there are a ton of different options for sound libraries out there, ranging in price from free to ridiculously expensive. Some libraries, like Spitfire Studio Strings or Musio Cinestrings, come with recordings for each individual section. Others, like Albion 1 or Metropolis Arc, will be recorded as larger ensembles labeled as either strings or sometimes high strings versus low strings. I'll tackle a video later in this series on how to find the right libraries for you. But if you're watching this video, chances are you already have a couple libraries and you're just trying to learn how to make the most out of them. So that's what we're going to focus on for now. We will learn how to use the sound libraries you have available, and then later, if need be, we can discuss how to find the best fit for the music you want to write. Regardless of which type of libraries you're working with, you will want to start by loading an individual track for each instrument. Next, if your computer can handle it, you're probably going to want to double that number so that each instrument actually has two tracks. One dedicated for long, sustained types of articulations, and one that you will reserve for short, staccato-style articulations. For example, first violin long, and first violin short. Most of the time, they'll actually be the same exact patch from the same exact library. I loaded the violin patch from my Cinestrings Pro, and down here, I have the same exact library. Same exact patch, same exact articulations. But I'll only use this track to play long notes and melodies that are mostly sustained, while this track will specialize in shorter articulations and rhythmic string parts. The reason why you want to do this is because many sound libraries, unfortunately, mix the different articulation types slightly differently. So what ends up being a good volume for your beautiful legato melody ends up being just much too soft for your rhythmic string passage later in the same piece. This can be a headache to mix, so it's just helpful to get ahead of the curve by using specialized tracks so they can be mixed separately. Likewise, sometimes you'll find that the attack of your legato or sustained patch just isn't strong enough, and you really want a sharp start to each note, in which case it can be a common practice to just simply double up your part with a staccato patch and then blend them together to sound like a single section playing the same part. We'll learn more about navigating both of these strategies and more in future videos. But for now, just try to make sure you have dedicated long and short tracks for each instrument if your computer can handle it. If not, that's okay. It's not the end of the world and certainly does not disqualify you from creating realistic MIDI performances. However, this goes even further if you plan to use solos in your arrangement. If you want to feature any soloist performers, then you will need dedicated long and short tracks for them as well. Same goes if you want to use divisi in your arrangement. This is a little less important since it's not as common, so don't go purchase thousands of dollars worth of sound libraries if you don't have to, just because you want a divisi patch. But if you have access to divisi options, and if you plan to use them in a particular arrangement, you will want to include those as well. Again, both short and long articulations as needed. So suddenly, the 5 string sections that an orchestrator needs to worry about have expanded to as many as 40 different tracks used in a professional MIDI performance, each one dedicated to only the string section. You've got 10 tracks for short and long string sections, up to 10 tracks for short or long soloists, and up to 20 tracks if you plan on using short and long divisi. Now, if you really want to create a nice, rich sound, many composers and producers will go a step further and double up on the string section, using at least 2 different libraries to create a truly rich and complex sound. Full disclaimer, this is not necessary, and it will dramatically increase the demand on both your computer and your time. Doubling the number of tracks you're using can add hours to your work commitment, so it's something you should only do if you have a specific reason for it. For example, I like the detail and customizability that I can get from my Spitfire Studio Strings professional library. But they do sound a little thin sometimes, especially when I'm going for a dramatic, cinematic type sound. So on occasion, I like to double them up with my Albion 1 library. Combined, they create a flexible but powerful sound that I can do a lot with. If you want to do this, usually I recommend using a combination of libraries built on individual sections, like Spitfire Studio Strings or Cinesamples from Musio, and combine them with an ensemble patch, like Albion 1. In this configuration, the recording techniques used for each one help complement each other, and I feel like it helps glue the sound a little bit more. The individual sections in Cinestrings or Studio Symphony Orchestra help provide a bit more detail and nuance to the individual sections, while the larger ensemble sound of Albion 1 helps glue it all together a little bit more fluidly. Now, obviously, this takes a tremendous amount of RAM and processing power in your computer. So don't worry, even if you can't do this, you're not disqualified from creating a realistic arrangement. There's still plenty more to cover. As long as you have a minimum of 1 track for each string instrument and soloist, you're good. But these same considerations need to be applied to the wind instruments as well, with the biggest difference being that both woodwinds and brass instruments tend to be treated more like individuals than sections. In other words, when the arranger composes for violin 1. They only write one violin 1 part, even if there are 16 violin 1 players. But when they write for flutes, then they will need to write as many parts as there are flute players. For example, if there are 2 flute players, then each of those musicians will probably play their own part, even if they occasionally play in unison. So for each individual wind section, you will need at least one solo track for each instrument you're using. 3 flutes means that you need to start with 3 tracks. Then you'll also want an ensemble patch, which is a sound library that contains multiple instruments playing in unison. This is for moments where you do want your instruments playing all the same part, because just simply layering multiple solo tracks won't have the same effect as actually recording the instruments playing together. It'll introduce an issue called phasing, which we'll tackle in a future video. But for now, just understand that if you have 3 flute players, that means you need at least 4 tracks. Add to the fact that you still need a short and long articulation track for each one, and we run into the same issue of size to consider. Suddenly, an arrangement that calls for 3 flutes and an optional piccolo ends up needing 10 different tracks. Piano, harp, and percussion are going to be a little bit different because you don't usually need separate tracks for long versus short articulations, just the 1 track per instrument. So with all of that in mind, let's try to summarize what we've learned by applying it to my arrangement in this video. First things first, for every single wind instrument, that means both woodwinds and brass, I want a minimum of 1 track. In this arrangement, I have 2 flutes, flute player number 1 and flute player number 2. So at the minimum, I want 2 tracks, each loaded with a solo flute patch. Then, if possible, I want to include an ensemble patch, which contains at least 2 instruments playing in unison. Now, this doesn't need to be perfect. For example, in this arrangement, even though I only have 2 flutes, my ensemble patch is technically 3 flutes playing in unison. That's perfectly fine. The main point here is just that an ensemble patch will create a more realistic sound, and it won't cause issues with phasing, which can happen if you try just doubling 2 identical patches playing flute solos in unison. But again, don't sweat it if you don't have an ensemble patch. Just work with what you've got, work with what your computer can run. We will learn tricks down the line to help make sure that any phasing issues you could run into are minimized. Finally, if your computer can handle it, a more ideal situation would then involve doubling the number of tracks so that you have dedicated options for both playing long legato articulations and melodies and shorter, punchy articulations like staccato, staccatissimo, or marcato, things like that. This means for this arrangement of 2 flutes, I am going to work with 6 different tracks. For stringed instruments, I need, again, a minimum of 1 track per instrumental section. Preferably 2. Again, 1 for short and 1 for long. My arrangement does not involve any string solos or divisi, so I don't have to include them in my considerations. And because I'm quite happy with the sound of Cinestrings Pro, I'm not going to double up with additional libraries to save my computer a little bit of processing power and to save me a bit of time. Which means I lucked out, and for 5 instruments, I only need 10 tracks. This may change down the line, but at least for now, as I'm prepping my template for this arrangement, all I need are 10 tracks for the 5 instruments of the string section. Following the same logic for the rest of my wind instruments, and adding a solo track for my harp and a solo track for my piano, lands me with 60 different individual tracks loaded and ready to bring this arrangement to life. And that doesn't even include the percussion instruments, which I personally like to add later in my workflow, so we're not going to tackle them at the moment. And that's just because I tend to save percussion for last, because I never really know which of my sound libraries I want to work with until the rest of my sound is a little more solidified. So with that, let's take a break so you can go set up a new project to follow along with this series. Go figure out which instruments you need for your arrangement, and then go calculate how many tracks that will require for a realistic MIDI performance. If you don't have your own arrangement to work with, you can purchase the PDF and MIDI files for my arrangement we're working with in this series for $5. The link is in the description of this video. I want to take a quick moment to thank my wonderful patrons, channel members, and generous donors who helped make this new series possible. I appreciate each of you more than you know. You can help support future videos by joining as a member or by purchasing one of the ebooks and instructional manuals available on my website. I also offer private lessons on a limited basis. More information can be found with the link below. So until next time, my friends, keep studying, keep working hard, and keep writing new music. I will see you in the next video.